Now, Geoffrey, what's your political view on it? Because, of course, we were having a big debate about this in a leader meeting at the Economist the other day. The pro-EEA side of Parliament would probably have a majority, so you might have Michael Gove or Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, but would they be able to push through necessarily in Parliament a complete exit from all trading arrangements through the SNP and the Labour Party and the others that might vote them down?
So you're assuming a Brexit?
Assume a Brexit, and Brexit. Cameron goes and yes. Gove.
Well, I think the interesting development in the Leave campaign has been the rejection of the single market. Mm-hmm. This was the one great thing which we imagined everybody was agreed on, that the benefits of the single market outranked so many other concerns that people had. Now, why have they rejected the single market? Because suddenly they realised that when they looked at the Norway option, when they looked at various other options, coming with those options was not only the fact that you had to pay money to the European Union, but you also had to accept free movement rules. And if the big bugbear is indeed free movement, then obviously that wasn't going to be acceptable. But they haven't come up with what the grand plan is for the alternative. That is where we talk about the leap in the dark. And I think this is a serious concern. They imagine because we have a serious trade imbalance with other European Union countries that they automatically will rush to do a deal with us. But it's a question of what price they attach to that particular deal. And I can't imagine that we'd get a deal that would be better than the deal that we have at the moment in terms of trading with Europe. And by the way, there's nothing stopping us, leave aside free trade agreements, there's nothing stopping us trading with the rest of the world. At the moment, at this moment. I chair the delegation for relations with India. I'm very frustrated that the European Union hasn't made progress on its free trade agreement with India. Nevertheless, our companies can get out there and be selling to India. Belgium sells more to India than Britain does. I think that's disgraceful. There's nothing to stop us. There are German firms, there are French firms, there are Belgian firms, and all the rest around the world busy selling their products. Why aren't we out there seizing the opportunities of all these markets? There's nothing stopping us. You don't need a free trade agreement. Okay, there are benefits in having free trade agreements. You don't need them, you can be doing it.
Can I comment
yes,
on the trade balance? I think this argument that Europe sells more to us than we sell to them, and therefore they will come running to sign a trade agreement, is deeply fallacious. The issue is that Britain sends half its exports of goods to the European Union, slightly under if you add services in. The typical member of the European Union sends 5% of its exports to Britain. And so who's going to be more desperate to sign an agreement? The typical British firm that is looking at half its exports, facing additional barriers, or the typical French, German, Lithuanian firm which is looking at extra barriers on 5% of its exports. So that is grossly imbalanced. So even though the trade balance, they actually sell more to us than we sell to them, I think that's neither here nor there. The typical firm will be lobbying its typical MP and saying, look, this is half our trade. And on the continent, they'll be saying, look, it's 5% of our trade, do what you can, but it...
And Jonathan, I think I'm right, we have this deficit in goods, but in services it's a different matter, and in services the WTO rules wouldn't be so helpful, right? So
that's right. I mean, I think, look, realistically, in the medium term, would we come to some sort of we are not going to stop trading with the continent. Would we come to some sort of arrangement that meant that we had zero or very low tariffs on goods in the medium run? Almost certainly, I think. But we might well find that there were more barriers to services than we currently face, and perhaps even worse, that we didn't share from any future further integration of trade and services within the single market, which of course is our comparative advantage. So, in the long run, that's what we need to do.
I want to make sure we focus on the labour market, because that's the whole point of the...
Can I just say, I mean, we don't have a single market in services.
No, but they're trying to...
One of the great weaknesses.
Yeah, trying to create one, yeah.
One of the things that needs to be addressed.
Yes, of course, we have a commissioner in there supposed to be working it out.
That's all I know.
Yeah.